You may know Elon Musk as the man with a plan. Whether it's his vision for the colonisation of Mars, electric cars, artificial intelligence, sliced bread, or spending incomprehensible amounts of money on a website where people write short sentences. But did you know that before all of this, Elon Musk was part of someone else's grand plan? And that grand plan was trying to turn movies into games. Yes, from his humble beginnings as the wealthy offspring of an apartheid-era South African emerald mine mogul, Elon needed a hobby. And that hobby, it seems, was games development. In 1984, at the age of just 12 years old, Elon set his sights to the stars and created Blastar. A game that is, well, it's not that great. I'll put it that way. Take Space Invaders, but reduce everything down to one. One spaceship, one enemy, one bullet at a time. That's all you get. During an interview with Tim Urban for an article entitled Elon Musk, the World's Raddest Man, Elon states that he read a how to program guide for the Commodore VIC-20, which apparently should have taken 6 months to complete. But Elon would like everyone to know that he finished it in 3 days. Regardless, he made $500 from selling the game to a computer magazine, because computer magazines would literally buy anything in the early 80s. Despite the game's actual quality, Blastar was recently released as a mobile phone title, rated at 4.4 out of 5 stars with 220 reviews. And it doesn't take long to understand why when you read a few of the comments.
This is amazing game according to the era in which it was made. Mr. Musk is great at a very young age. He made this kind of game with his coding. Great personality. I love Heim.
Unbelievable. This game create 12-year-old boy, now one of the inspiration of world. Imagine 12 years of Elon Musk. Brain great. I am also one of inspiration of Elon Musk.
Anyway, moving on, this wasn't to be the end of Elon Musk's game development career. I mean, it wasn't far off, but there were still a couple of more flops to spill out onto shop shelves. Fast forward to 1996, Elon Musk finds himself working at Rocket Science Games, a company on the bleeding edge of modern technology at the time, compact discs. Now, anyone that grew up in this brief window of excitement remember that the increase in space provided by CDs had games developers partaking in a bit of a gold rush. It was a time of full motion video, FMV for short, and it was going to make gaming more incredible and realistic than ever before. That was wrong, of course. It just made games either incredibly basic or incredibly boring. If you weren't spending your time watching cutscenes with poorly directed actors, then you were playing an on-rail shooter in the same vein as Sewer Shark. Enter stage right, Lodestar, The Legend of Tully Bodine, an on-rail shooter in the same vein as Sewer Shark. Elon's work here was that of a programmer, listed in the credits as part of the ground control team, although most people probably have never seen those credits because the game didn't exactly rocket into space. Less than 20,000 units were sold in all, and that's despite a huge push on the advertising front. The game may have been an on-rail shooter, but that didn't stop them from bringing in Ned Beatty as Sheriff Francis Wampler, a man who's desperately trying to stop you from smuggling contraband camels off a moon colony. And the total cost of Ned Beatty and a space truckload of green screen acting cost them? Oh, just around $3 million. Now, you would have thought this would have been the end of Rocket Science Games, and Elon Musk's programming career along with it. But no, somehow they went on to do the same thing again. This time taking a beloved comic turned arcade beat-em-up in the form of Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, unironically subtitled The Second Cataclysm. And having learned absolutely nothing from their time with Lodestar, the game was another on-rail shooter with FMV elements. Needless to say, it flopped. All in all, less than 8,000 copies of both Lodestar and Cadillacs and Dinosaurs The Second Cataclysm were sold in the US during the year of 1996. At which point, Elon pulled on his jetpack and flew off to his diamond-encrusted mansion, right before Rocket Science Games actually started to release games that weren't just glorified DVD menus. To really put the icing on the cake here, Sega was so adamant that the FMV craze was going to reap all the monetary rewards they could get their hands on, they provided Rocket Science Games a whopping $12 million in funding to do all of this. $12 million, 8,000 copies sold. Yeah. It didn't take long for Sega to realise that FMV probably wasn't going to be the saviour of video games after all, and after providing rocket science games with even more funding, they finally began to release games that actually were critically well received. They also flopped. Elon, however, wouldn't be there to see that crash, as he left the premises after Cadillacs and Dinosaurs fell out of the starting gate. His career in games development might not have been the most impactful, but at least he was sorta there. A participation badge, if you will. Never mind though, eh? I'm sure he got over it. But you can run Steam on a Tesla now, so there's that. Hello you. Thanks ever so much for watching. Please subscribe to be first to see future videos of mine. And if you really want to help me, please consider supporting me on Patreon. But until next time, I'm missing you already.